So, Project Veritas has released the leaked ABC News footage of Amy Rohrbach talking about the Epstein case, and we're going to go ahead and watch this video here, and I'll just comment on it a little bit as it goes, I guess.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that...
Palace, they mean the British royal family. Buckingham Palace.
We had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago.
Alright, so you have an ABC News anchor here saying that they had all this information 3 years ago. And the Jeffrey Epstein thing has been known for quite a while. I mean, everybody's known about the associations. The guy is a former math teacher. Nobody even knows how he got his money. Probably selling kids. But, so ABC sat on this for 3 years. She admits it. And you notice a lot in this video, she just completely lack any moral character. So supposedly she had this story for 3 years. She kept going back to work every day while this sat there and didn't say nothing. Who knows how many other kids were raped and tortured because she kept her mouth shut. I don't know if there's anything else on here or not.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything.
So yeah, I guess the whole thing was this was caught on a hot mic when she was talking to her producer. And today ABC kind of Amy Rohrbach kind of walked it back, and ABC put out a little statement to try to cover their ass. So we'll go over that in a minute too.
Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air.
That's tape leaked to us by our latest network insider. This brave insider works at ABC News. ABC News anchorwoman Amy Rohrbach is talking to her producer on a hot mic. She says she had the Jeffrey Epstein story 3 years ago, and her bosses at ABC News spiked it.
And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like,
look at her smile. She's more upset that she had the story and it didn't get released and she didn't get credit for it than she is about what actually happened. Like I said, these guys were pedophiles. There were young girls and young boys being raped here, and she's more upset that she's not getting credit for dropping the story. Disgusting. It's a problem with the news. These people lack any sense of morals. They're liars, cheats. I mean, if you can't trust them to honestly report on possibly the biggest pedophilia case ever. What can you trust them to report on, honestly? It's disgusting. I don't know how anybody could trust the media at this point.
Every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal.
Our insider told us this tape was recorded earlier this year in late August, a day or so after this NPR report came out sharply criticizing ABC News for not broadcasting the Robach Giuffre interview years ago.
ABC has episodically covered the scandal, yet the interview was never broadcast, and Giuffre says she was never told why.
Other women backing it up. Hey, yep, Brad Edwards.
Why? Well, the reason why is that they didn't want to damage their relations with the British. It would have affected advertising money, many things like that. She even said that they wouldn't have been able to get the interviews with William and Kate. I wonder if William's involved. I don't know that much about that, but I know Prince Andrew, he was a big buddy of Epstein's, and he's on the flight logs multiple times, along with Bill Clinton and others. Trump is even on there, but I believe Trump's only on there a couple times, so kind of open to assume whatever you want with that. But I don't really trust anybody associated with the guy. The freak. Disgusting freak.
The attorney 3 years ago saying, there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. And I had it all 3 years ago.
But the creepy thing is that we would make access to all of these high-profile people.
Well, then I got a little concerned about why I couldn't get on.
On the leaked insider tape, Amy Robach says she had the Jeffrey Epstein story 3 years prior, but her exclusive interview was shelved. Robach says in the leaked tape there was a lot of pressure from Buckingham Palace. According to NPR, the famed lawyer Alan Dershowitz also pressured the network to kill the story.
Shortly before the interview was due to air, Harvard emeritus law professor Alan Dershowitz called the network. He was also one of Epstein's lead defense attorneys.
We wonder if the story was killed to protect the rich and powerful. It seems few were worried about protecting the women who may have been Jeffrey Epstein's victims. Remember, Epstein was still a free man 3 years ago. And just to be clear, the interview has still not aired. What is ABC News waiting for, or who are they still protecting?
She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was.
Who are they protecting? Well, Dershowitz would be one. Clinton's. I mean, just take a look at the flight logs. You have all the names on those flight logs, and I'm pretty sure that you can find them out there. Just do a Google search of it, and you'll be able to stumble across it.
Hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything.
Robach also has no doubt about what happened to Epstein when he finally was arrested and jailed.
So do I think he was killed? 100%. Yes, I do. Because he made his whole living blackmailing people.
Now, a lot of people think this. I'm pretty sure everybody's seen the memes by now. They're great memes, by the way. But I'm about 99% sure he was killed. They even had his brother hired a coroner, who was a New York coroner for many years. I think it was New York. And he did his assessment, and they even said it's very, very rare for somebody to suffer the fractures that he had in his neck and on his spine just by hanging, let alone hanging yourself from a bunk bed in a prison with a blanket. It's not like the guy was dangling from a roof and kicked a chair out from under his legs or anything like that. If I had to guess, it was more like he choked himself out. Because I mean, he was on suicide watch, right? Or they said he wasn't. Now I don't know. The whole story's just kind of fishy. Guards were sleeping. The cameras malfunctioned, and just too many coincidences. Doesn't add up. But what I was saying, if he did kill himself in prison, odds are he would have had to do it by choking himself out and cutting off his airway. He couldn't have hung himself and snapped his neck from a ceiling. He did it from a bunk bed. And if you watch any history documentaries, what was his name? German guy. I forget his name. He was a German a big guy in the German military that killed himself before Nuremberg. And what he did was he tied something around his neck, sat on the toilet, and just kind of leaned forward till he passed out and cut off his airway until he died. I would imagine that's how he would have had to kill himself here in the same kind of situation, except from a bunk bed.
Yeah.
So the broken bones make no sense. None.
There were a lot of men in those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment.
I don't know what the apartment is that she's talking about, but that would be interesting to read up on a bit.
I mean, when I heard he was found in his cell, someone was like,
I knew immediately.
Didn't we all?
And they made it seem as though he made that suicide attempt 2 weeks earlier, but his lawyers...
And it's funny how you haven't really heard a word about this case since his apparent suicide.
...claimed that he was roughed up by his cellmate around the neck. That was all, like, to plant the seed. And then... That's why I really believe it. Like, really believe it.
The last of the leaked tape has Robach talking about alleged Epstein conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell and how she should be very careful.
he's got to have left evidence, like, in the, unexplained.
Well, Ghislaine Maxwell, who I had all sorts of stuff on her too. I love it. I'm like, it's so funny to hear everyone say her name now because I'm like, oh my God, like, I had all the, and everyone was like, who's that?
She was kind of the madame of the operation, I guess. From what I've read, she was the one that would bring these girls to Epstein.
Who cares? I kept getting that. Who cares? She knows everything. She knows. She should be careful. Well, she was his, like, she went out and recruited all of these girls.
Yeah, see?
Stand by.
Disgusting.
She should watch her back. Because if she goes, I mean, I'd have like security guards all around me.
The brave insider who leaked this tape to us does not know who at ABC News spiked the story, but someone at ABC does. Our question: who killed the Epstein story at ABC News and why? Help us find out. James Goldston is the president of ABC News. What did he know, and when did he know it? Here's the landline number for ABC News President Goldston and his Twitter account. If you're an insider at ABC News or any other major media outlet or big tech company and you have seen corruption or bias, contact us at projectveritas.com/brave.
Alright, so that's pretty much it for the video. Just more great work by Project Veritas. They're always dropping great leaks. They've been on top of some big ones. But anyways, like I said, ABC, they've gone ahead and released a statement defending their Epstein coverage, and Amy Robach has kind of walked back her statements a bit on the issue. Let's see, I had it up here somewhere and I just scrolled past it. What did I do? What did I do? Here we go. ABC and Robach released statements to people denying the supposed leak here. As a journalist, as the Epstein story continued to unfold last summer, I was caught in a private moment of frustration, Robach, 46, said in a statement. I was upset that an important interview I had conducted with Virginia Roberts Giuffre, I think that's how you pronounce it, didn't air because we could not obtain sufficient corroborating evidence to meet ABC's editorial standards about her allegations. My comments about Prince Andrew and her allegation that she had seen Bill Clinton on Epstein's private island were in reference to what Virginia Roberts said in that interview in 2015, she added. I was referencing her allegations, not what ABC News had verified through our reporting. The interview itself, while I was disappointed it didn't air, didn't meet our standards. In the years since, no one has ever told me or the team to stop reporting on Jeffrey Epstein, and we have continued to aggressively pursue this important story. ABC reiterated that Robach reporting had not met its standards. At the time, not all of our reporting met our standards to air. We have never stopped investigating the story, ABC said in a statement. Ever since, we've had a team on this investigation and substantial resources dedicated to it. That work has led to a 2-hour documentary and a 6-part podcast that will air in the new year. So you can see they both kind of got defensive about this leak. Kind of weird, since Epstein has been murdered, this whole story has just kind of fallen off the shelf. You don't really hear about it all anymore, and it's perhaps one of the more important cases in recent history. Just the sheer magnitude of it and the possibility of who's involved. So it'll be interesting to see how things develop now that this leak has been released. I'm also curious as to what will happen with all the court documents and all the evidence that the feds have. If that will get released or not now that Epstein's dead and he can't be charged with anything. What's going to happen to Ghislaine Maxwell? I'd imagine that there should be some kind of criminal prosecution made against her for her involvement in this. It's pretty well known that she was, like I said, she was the madame, and she was the one that would bring these women to Epstein. So, just going to continue to watch this, see how things develop. It's going to be a while before we have all the information. But to see exactly how the media handles this and how they've handled it so far is that they've defended themselves, surprise, surprise. But to see if anything new comes out, like I said earlier, these people, the media, I don't trust them at all. You shouldn't trust them at all either. They're dishonest people. You had the woman here on tape admitting that she's had this story for 3 years and they sat on it. You had the 2-year-long fake Russian conspiracy. You have the Ukraine thing where they're it's like there's a lot of projection. They project the Trump Ukraine corruption when in fact it's Biden, and I believe Clinton had ties to some Ukrainian gas company as well. One of them, somebody in the Democratic Party, but they lie and they lie. They have an agenda and they want to fulfill that agenda. Alright, stick around. I'll be reporting more on this when I get more information and once I see how this story is handled by the bigger outlets. Peace, guys.